What is your name and who are you playing?
So, my name is Evie Florence, and I am playing the part of Karen/Kate Taylor.
What is Thick as Thieves about?
Good question. Thick as Thieves is a play that is ultimately about care, I suppose, and I mean that in the literal and the figurative sense. So, it's about these two sisters who grew up in the care system, and it didn't. It wasn't a good life for them, but they went their separate ways, and my character's life was very fortunate. She ended up with a happy family and a good job, and she's now head of children's services herself, which is kind of interesting. Whereas Gail, her sister, has had a really, really tough life, and the world has been unkind to her. So I suppose it's about care, but also the ways in which people are let down by those who are supposed to look after them, whether that be family or people who are sort of surrogate family members, and I suppose ultimately it's about that relationship between the two sisters as they come back into each other's lives, and whether they can give each other what they need, the love and support they need, and ultimately you have to come through the play to find out if they can.
Where do we find your character at the beginning of the play and what is their journey like?
At the beginning of the play, I wouldn't say Karen's sort of like happy, but ultimately she feels quite fulfilled by her job, and obviously, as I said, like her life has been quite fortunate, so she's quite content with kind of all the aspects of it. However, she's just landed the news that her sister's come back into her life for the first time in a long time. So you find Karen quite controlled, because it's her office, it's her sort of place of power, but I think there's a real kind of anxiety underneath the surface, and by the end of the play all of that surface level stuff comes flowing out of the top, and we see all of Karen's truest and darkest colours coming out, and so I suppose that all of the control that she has at the beginning of the play completely disappears by the end, and we see a very out of control Karen.
What's it like playing your character?
It's surprisingly fun, considering it's it's a play that has quite a lot of complex.
Sorry, I'm just.
Ah yes, well done. It's surprisingly.
Thank you for editing this.
Excellent.
You are a god. Okay.
We should be lucky for a few minutes.
So, what is it like playing your character?
So playing my character, as I said, it's surprisingly fun, because despite the fact that it's like, quite an emotionally complex role, and it is that, but I think that the complexity is what kind of makes it fun. Like, it's a real challenge to find a lot of kind of Karen's sort of warmer qualities, and I think we've done quite a lot of exploration about how she was as a child now, and I think that's been super helpful, because it's very easy to see the kind of presentable Karen and the surface level Karen, but what's been most fun for me, I think, is like delving beneath that and finding the slightly chaotic or the slightly silly, and the Karen that's full of love, which aren't necessarily immediately obvious from the script of the play.
In what ways do you think you're like your character?
I don't want to be like Karen in some ways. To be honest, when I read the script in full, I think the things I recognise in Karen that I see in myself are some of those like little aspects of self-preservation, like the I'll do it again.
Yeah. Why didn't we have we did not have this train problem with you.
No, it was the same time. It was the same time we came in and did
And
it.
Thames Link wasn't fucked that day. Like, weird.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Conspiracy theory.
Let's go again.
Yes.
In what ways do you like your character?
So, I think when I first read the play in full, there were lots of bits of Karen that I didn't recognise in myself. However, the aspects of sort of like protection, like self-protection and self-preservation, I guess by which I mean Karen likes to be in control and doesn't like to be dependent on other people. And although I don't think I take it as extremely as Karen, I think some of that I can definitely see in myself. Like, I think she's afraid of being vulnerable, because I think when you're vulnerable you can get hurt. And I suppose that I recognise that in myself. And I've got a good sharp suit, and I think so has Karen. So they were like that.
Why should people come and see Thick as Thieves?
because it's a great play and we're great. No, there's many reasons why they should come see this play. And I think ultimately it's because I think although it's very heartbreaking and there's lots of sadness in it, there's also a lot of light and joy. And I think that there's like a message of ultimately finding like empathy for other people whose lives have taken, who are different from yours. Like, I think that that's the lesson of the play, is that both sisters kind of fail to learn that, but the audience can see from the outside that they're both worthy of love and they're both worthy of happiness. And so I suppose that I would say they should come see this play, because it'll hopefully encourage them to, you know, connect with the people around them and hopefully go forth with love.